Alright, hey guys. So SummerSlam is this weekend, so I thought maybe do a video looking back at an old SummerSlam and then give you some of my thoughts of SummerSlam this weekend, some predictions. So we're gonna go all the way back 10 years to SummerSlam 2010. I always say this in the wrestling business, like a year in the wrestling business can seem like 10 years. This seems like so long ago. It was 10 years, but it seems like it's like 20 years ago. Just how much like changes, in the wrestling business. So this is SummerSlam 2010. So the big storyline going into the SummerSlam was the Nexus, led by Wade Barrett against John Cena. Here's the back cover. Gives you kind of like the card for it. Let me just open it up. It's just gonna. We got this, and this is really old. This is when SmackDown was on the Sci-Fi Channel back. I guess this is an advertisement for something on the Sci-Fi Channel. So the main event, it was a 7-on-7 match, which featured John Cena teaming up with Bret the Hitman Hart, Chris Jericho, Edge, John Morrison, R-Truth, and Daniel Bryan, who just returned to the company, against the Nexus, which was Wade Barrett, David Otunga, Heath Slater, Skip Sheffield, which is Ryback, and Michael Tarver, Justin Gabriel, and Darren Young. So let's just talk about that main event. So that was like the build-up for the summer, this Nexus group. It was probably like, the first time WWE was trying to build new stars, if you look at their product now. But back then, they were building up this new group. It kind of reminded me of like the NWO, kind of like a group coming in to try to take over. They had an episode of Raw where the group came in and they kind of like attacked everybody. Kind of reminded, like Retribution, like 2 weeks ago on SmackDown when they came in and pretty much like destroyed the arena. Kind of like that. You probably can go on YouTube, or if you have the WWE Network, you could probably go on to that episode. It was, I think, a Raw June of 2010, where Nexus came in and they completely like destroyed everybody. This is when Daniel Bryan, the ring announcer, Justin Roberts, he now works for AEW. Daniel Bryan got fired because he put Justin Roberts. He was choking him out with Justin Roberts' tie. So at the time, I guess they thought that was too violent or whatever, I don't know. So they fired Daniel Bryan, but this was like his, they actually hired him back, so the big feud was like Wade Barrett against John Cena. Each week they would attack somebody else. So there's also a lot of like this was like a elimination match too. There was a lot of like debate nowadays when people look back at this pay-per-view saying that John Cena refused to put Wade Barrett over. He should have done that, to build new stars and stuff like that. And again, there's a lot of debate on that. I feel, if you think about it, WWE has always been a babyface territory. What I mean by that is they usually have, like, going all the way back to the 80s, if you think about it, with Hulk Hogan must pose at the end of the at the end of the event. Vince McMahon's really big on letting the fans go home happy. So what that means is usually like the babyface, the good guy, is always goes on top at the end. And they've always been like a babyface territory. Unlike NWA back in the day, they usually have a heel champion like Ric Flair for so many years, and Ric Flair would be the bad guy, and you would have the good guy like the face. Chasing after, have a long chase like Dusty Rhodes or Sting afterwards. They would have a long chase with the, trying to get that title, and then you have the big payoff at the end when the hero finally wins. But Vince McMahon and the WWE, they've always been kind of like, a babyface territory where even if you go to like house shows, it always ends with like the babyface, overcoming or something at the end where they usually win. And it kind of like, if you think about this, like with John Cena being supposed to be the top babyface, the top guy in the company, if this was supposed to be the ending of the big feud with the Nexus, I can understand John Cena, overcoming and prevailing at the end. If it was like if the feud was going to continue, it made more sense maybe for like Wade Barrett to actually win. But afterwards, I mean, they did have like John Cena. This wasn't the end of the feud. John Cena had a match with Wade Barrett, I think, at the next pay per view was Night of the Champions, and that's when I think Wade Barrett beat him, and John Cena had joined Nexus or something like that, and then this feud went on until like I think December because they had like a blow off at TLC, and so there's different ways you can think about it. I mean. They could easily have had like John Cena get defeated and then trying to overcome that the thing with wrestling, and you always want to stack the odds against the hero, the babyface, and they have to overcome all these obstacles, and then at the end you have to have a payoff where they beat the heel or the bad guy. So people complaining that John Cena beat Wade Barrett or whatever. I mean, that's the way storytelling is. You're gonna have the good guy has to win at the end. Is this the way? I mean, in the movies, in TV, the good guy prevails at the end. So I mean, and Wade Barrett, I mean, I think they lost a good talent with him because he's no longer with the company. I think they really dropped the ball with him. With the whole Bad News Barrett character, I think he was really getting over, and I think there was possibly even a face turn for him towards a couple years ago, right before he left the company. But then, again, that's going to be like a huge debate whether Cena should have put them over or whatever. So the other matches on the card, I mean, if you look at still on top. This was 10 years ago. Randy Orton against Sheamus for the WWE Championship. And you look at Randy Orton now, and he's in a title, still in the title picture. We also have Kane versus Rey Mysterio for the World Heavyweight Championship. Back then SmackDown was there was two brands, SmackDown and Raw. Look at the Divas Championship match: Alicia Fox versus Melina. Wow. And then we also have for the IC title Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston. So they're still, Dolph and Kofi are still hitting it. They're still on one's on SmackDown, one's on Raw. And then a 3-on-1 handicap, Big Show versus the Straight Edge Society, which was the Straight Edge Society was CM Punk, I think it was Gallows, and somebody else. I can't remember that, but yeah, that was when CM Punk was doing the Straight Edge Society. And then bonus features on here. They have Josh Matthews. Now he's with TNA or Impact. Interview with Dan O'Brien. So yeah, I mean, you could definitely check this out. On the WWE Network, of course, and look back at this pay-per-view. I was kind of disappointed back in the when they announced the card back in the day when I was like, and then we're going to do this big like Team WWE versus the Nexus. I was kind of disappointed because I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of like 7-on-7 matches. I preferred if it was like a 1-on-1. And there's only 6 matches on this card, so because that 7-on-7 match went on for a while. And you look at the stars. I mean, the star power of that match. If you think about it now, you had Daniel Bryan, you had Edge, you had Chris Jericho, Bret Hart. Even though Bret Hart didn't really do much in the match, but Cena, of course. Even like Heath Slater now. I mean, that was his big break. Justin Gabriel, now he's in Ring of Honor. Darren Young, didn't really have any. Had a little success with the primetime players with Titus O'Neil, and then I can see hopefully Darren Young will make it in Ring of Honor or something. And then Skip Sheffield, which became Ryback. All right. So now thoughts on this year's WrestleMania predictions. I'm not going to go over all the matches, but some of the main ones. You got You have Drew McIntyre defending the WWE Championship against Randy Orton. I'm really excited for that one. Is it time for them to switch the titles? I really like Randy Orton. He's been really good the last couple of months. Sometimes Randy Orton, it feels like he's just phoning it in and he doesn't really care. Right now, I mean, he's been like probably one of the top heels. And, sometimes, maybe it's time to switch the title because, Raw ratings have been going like down. So maybe like a switch. I do like Drew McIntyre and I don't want to really see him lose the title. But maybe just having a quick switch will get viewers to watch Raw just to see the change, and then they could do like the return matches. I don't know what the next pay per view is. I actually think there's a pay per view in like 2 weeks or whatever afterwards. But they could do like rematches and maybe have like I know they're planning Edge and Randy Orton for WrestleMania next year. Edge is still recovering from the tricep injury. I don't know if he could come and try to maybe like distract Orton and cost Orton the title or something, and then that could set up their match down the road. It just sucks that sometimes you just need like a change to shake up a few things. The other title for the Universal title, Braun Strowman defending against The Fiend. I definitely think they should change the title. I think there was a stupid idea earlier in the year when they had The Fiend drop the title to Goldberg. That was really bad. I don't think that the plan probably was never to have Braun Strowman as champion. But with Roman Reigns, deciding not to perform, due to COVID-19, understandable. They had to pivot and they went with Braun Strowman. And I think the storyline, I think this feud has ran its course. It's just me. I mean, they've had matches before. I think it's time for The Fiend to finally beat and win the title, and that's it. You got to look ahead in the wrestling business when somebody wins a title. You got to look, okay, what challenges are ahead? Who are you going to put them against? Now if like Braun Strowman, wins, like who's going to be his next challenge? Who are they going to put him against? I don't think there's anybody on SmackDown right now that they could put against him. Now with The Fiend, I think there's other baby faces on there that they could probably come up with a feud or something. Other matches, I feel like don't want to make this video too long. The women's championship, Asuka against for the Raw championship against Sasha, and then she's going to take on Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I think something's going to happen. I predict right now one of the big matches at WrestleMania next year is going to be Sasha Banks against Bayley for the SmackDown title. They've been hitting they were throwing some hints, now and then of a possible breakup between the two. And I think I read maybe a couple months ago that they were planning on doing like a feud with them leading up to SummerSlam. But I think right now you want to hold it off until you can have audience, have fans in the arena, because I think that's going to be a big pop. So I think do a slow build towards their like kind of like Hulk Hogan and Macho Man when the mega powers explode. So I think that they should really wait on that, and I feel that Asuka should beat Sasha tomorrow on SummerSlam, and somehow have a way where Bayley costs Sasha the title, and they're still like the women's tag team champions. So Bayley should retain, and then Sasha should feel kind of like upset about it that she lost the title. But they're still tag team champions, and then down the road you should have them like lose the titles or something, and then do something to lead to a feud, and then also another prediction. I think Rhea Ripley should win the Women's Royal Rumble in January, and that should set up a match with her and Asuka. Right now, I mean, there's not enough women that are over to carry the title, and I don't think Becky Lynch is going to be back in time. Maybe she will be. I don't know. I know she's due in December, so I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. But that is my predictions. I hope if you're going to watch SummerSlam, I hope you enjoy it. I'm actually looking forward to SmackDown tonight to see the whole Thunderdome thing. It should be exciting. And thanks for watching.